It's day 2 of the project. I made my material list the other day. I figured out everything. I pulled the TV out of the box and I kind of looked at that, kind of got my bearings on understanding how it goes in. And then I went to the store and got all my materials. So now I'm ready to show you how it's done. Before we do anything, we've got to figure out where we want the center of the TV, and then we got to go back from there. So I made a determination and I measured off of that wall and I figured out exactly what I wanted, and I wanted like 75 inches coming off this wall. So I'm just going to put my bolt right here on the carpet. I'm not going to mark the carpet or the wall or anything like that. Okay? I got that right about there. That's where I wanted the center of the TV. But before I do anything, I got to look on the back of the TV, figure out how the bracket goes and all that, and work myself back from there. Okay, step by step, you can do this. What you got to do is just going to set the TV down here. Be real careful with it because you don't want to scratch or mark up the face of it or anything like that. And I got out the mounting bracket assembly directions. You just kind of have to kind of read that and see what you're going to do. Each TV has different ones, so don't be too concerned about this one. Your bracket assembly might be different, but you just have to go through the same steps. Figure out what base goes on here and all that. Figure out, once you have the TV flat, main thing you want to do is make sure you remember what's the top of the TV and what's the bottom, so you don't get mixed up backwards and start measuring from the top thinking it's the bottom and vice versa, because that's going to be really important to figure out. Because you remember on this TV we want about 5 feet, and actually I decided 5 feet 2 inches to the bottom edge of the TV once we get it installed. Well, this is how we're going to have to do it. We got to figure out the back side, how that's all going to fit and all that. And I've already taken out the backing plate and I put that on. This is the backing plate here. And I looked at the directions, make sure you get it up, right side up and all that. And you have to, here's my arm piece. And I had to figure out how that's going to slide on here and all of that before I can get my measurements, So I looked at that before and kind of slid that on there. You have to, when you do that, you got to kind of hold this up and make sure, because at first I thought that might be wrong, and when I lifted it, pulled it, it's fine. And so I know this bracket assembly is the center of the TV, and when this arm goes over and gets bolted up to the wall, this piece here is going to be the piece that's bolted right up against the wall. Okay, so I've got to, remember I wanted the middle, so I had the bolt marked on the floor, but then I had to measure over from the center of that bracket to the center of this bracket so that will tell me exactly what I need. Okay, so I measured over about 3 3/4 of an inch, because this is the actual piece that's going to be bolted up to the wall. You see, once it goes up like that, this has to be bolted up to the wall. And the thing is, you can't just bolt that right to the sheetrock wall. We've got to find the studs, right? And I'll show you how to figure that out. Okay, so we know 3 3/4 over. All right? So now we'll go back down to the carpet, show you what we do next. Just so you know, each TV bracket assembly is different. You've got to get the bracket assembly directions out. This one had 2 different bracket assemblies to put back here. because it's modified to accept pretty much any TV. The whole pattern may not be the same for your TV, so you may not need this bracket, you may have a different bracket, but they're pretty much universal. Okay, so I don't want you to think this was just something I kind of threw together, because I did a little bit of planning on this and I kind of pulled out everything, and I have not installed this type of bracket assembly before. That's why I'm going and reading the directions like I should. Don't think you can figure it out without going through the directions, okay? And that way I can see where everything's at and all that, okay? You can do it.